Hello people, and welcome back to part 5 of Palaven, our vanilla Cities Skylines build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And last time out we built our town centre, and thank you for all the support on this episode. You guys really enjoyed it, and just really a quick thank you for all the support on the channel. We're at like 13,500 subscribers now, which is just crazy. Yeah, never really expected to hit that number, and it still seems to be going up. So yeah, just a huge thank you for all the support on the channel, and I'm really happy that you guys are enjoying the new vanilla series. And I'm trying to pump these episodes out because I want to carry on building on this map, but I can't without recording. So a rock and a hard place, I think. But in today's episode, we're not going to do anything too major. What we're going to do is kind of go over what we've done and do some decorating, including kind of this space here. So at least in my experience, especially when you're playing vanilla Cities Skylines, you will end up with just kind of dead spaces like this. There's nothing here, it's just kind of empty grass between a suburb and a commercial area or an industrial area. You know, you just have that space. I think everyone has it. And we're going to try and do something with this today. And we're also going to discuss a few policies alongside implementing a cycle highway into the city, which will be fun because cycling is a very powerful and yet underrated tool in the game. So we'll have a look at cycling first, I think. So let's come into our medium roads, and the last milestone we hit, we unlocked something called the 4-lane road with bicycle lanes. Now I'm pretty sure these came with After Dark. Yeah, so they did come with After Dark. I just went on there, double checked real quick. And what they allow to do is, it kind of functions very similar to the 4-lane road, which is the one we have here. However, when we upgrade it, we can see that we get this little green strip with the bicycle symbol on it. So they have like, essentially becomes a 6-lane, but 2 of those lanes, one on each side of the road, is specifically for bicycles. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and upgrade kind of all the road where we initially started the city, and I think we'll start it from kind of our parkland here where the city begins, and then we'll bring him up to this intersection. And then we'll take him down here as well, so we'll bring him in front of the Rick's Rocket Dog Rescue Park. And then we'll bring it down into our little commercial centre over here. Bear in mind as well, we're also hooking our cycle network on the road in with the path as well. That's pretty important so they can kind of merge from one method to the other. And then I think we'll also take it up to here as well. Obviously, if we were to upgrade this one, we would break our tram lines, so we can't do that. So what we'll do is we'll just allow people to travel into the town centre via bike, and then they can either continue to walk, cycle, or get on the public transport. So we'll kind of see this thing coming in. Once the AI begins to pick it up, you can see now we've got some little folks cycling around. There we go. Healthy little people. So what this is going to do, it's going to help reduce people using cars, because now people will choose to cycle, which is great. And we also have a small version of this as well, 2-lane road with bicycle lanes. And I think what I'm going to do is just extend my cycle highway down into the suburb just on 1 or 2 roads, and then the rest of them we'll cover with buses once we begin to unlock some of the bus hubs. Probably this one first. The bus intercity bus hub will place somewhere over here, and then we'll have bus lines kind of covering the suburbs that aren't covered by trams or cycle lanes. So we've got a touch of crime in the city at the moment, so go ahead and check our police coverage. Yeah, so we could do with another police station. Let's just go ahead and add this in here for right now. We'll do something a little more important with that in a second. So let's continue with that bike lane. So if we are coming down here, we'll come down this side. And then let's see where we want to carry on here. I think we'll cut through here, and then we'll come around, and then again back into the town centre. So kind of one thing when you're trying to bear in mind, if you're trying to like almost help improve your traffic or put in public transport lines, the Sims, the people of your city, they won't travel from residential to residential. Like, so for example, they won't go and visit friends or family, or to kind of, you know, call around to their neighbour's house or go and pick something up from a friend on the other side of the neighbourhood. They'll only travel from residential to commercial, either for work or to go shopping. or they'll travel from residential to industrial for going to work. And they'll also travel to obviously like tourist attractions and unique buildings and parks and stuff for the kind of like recreational time. So you don't really need to do kind of bus loops within the residential areas. Kind of take them out into from residential to commercial or residential to industrial, etc. Hope that makes sense. So here we go now. We got some people. The AI is beginning to pick up our little cycling paths. And we'll be able to kind of see some cute people cycling around here. Let's have a look at the main street again. Yeah, so already you can just see, if you imagine all these people here, they would be either choosing to drive. They might choose to walk if their destination's close enough, but right now they're choosing to cycle because we have the cycle highways in, which is great news. So there's one policy that will kind of help us. So if we open up our policies panel and come across into city planning, we have something here called encourage biking, and when this policy is active, most citizens will prefer bicycles over motor vehicles. It doesn't cost us anything, and this is a really good policy to have active citywide. Unless you're kind of going for like an aesthetic vibe where you want lots of kind of trucks and cars and just a very kind of dense, heavy road. Maybe if you kind of go in like a Chicago or a New York or something, you know, you want those busy roads as part of your city aesthetic. But otherwise, encourage biking is fantastic. So what we'll do is, we'll take a look at probably a little time lapse of this corner right here. We'll just kind of keep your eye on how many people are using the bikes without the policy active, and then we'll do the same time lapse again with the policy on, and we'll see how much of a difference it makes. So we'll be right back. So hopefully you guys can see from that, there's a fair fewer cars on the road, and you'll see a little bit of a spike in people actually using the cycle paths, which is really great. Let's go check out some of the little suburban ones. You see now here our tram stops, we've got a fair few people using our little cycleways here. It's really just fantastic news, it really is. Huge fan of the cycle paths and the cycle highways in the city. Oftentimes, you know, if you kind of run into a traffic jam, run a cycle highway along that traffic jam. Maybe cut a bicycle path through a suburb, kind of in and around your commercial areas and your industrial, and you'll notice a difference. Cycling is a very underrated method of, I guess you could call it public transport. I don't know. I guess private transport, because I guess they have to own their bike. But yeah, nice little way. So, as soon as you get the option 2, which I think was last milestone, we unlocked the city planning stuff. If you want the cycle highway, stick encourage biking on. Fantastic little option. And you'll certainly notice a difference with how many people are using your cycle infrastructure. Okay, so as today is more of a detailing episode as opposed to kind of an expanded infrastructure one, let's start out with the biggest problem that's currently plaguing the map. Are these dead spaces that we've got going on here, and there's a little bit of a one starting to form here, so I'm very kind of wary of letting these spaces develop into, you know, just kind of empty land, and, you know, before you know it, there's kind of 2 or 3 surrounded with one another, and it quickly becomes a little bit of you know, a little bit of a problem aesthetically. So we have this big space. Let's go ahead and start drawing out some pathways. So I'm going to go with the nature reserve path for this. I'm going to have all my snapping off, and we're going to go freeform tool. Now, I've already cleared out a little space in this block of residential, so we'll have one right there. And then we'll bring it, just very slight curves in the path, nothing too major. We'll bring it down to this crossroads over here. And then we'll perhaps split the path over this way. Now, looking at it from the aerial view, helps you get some nicer curves in. And then we can bring it down through here. And then we can just hook it in there, and then it's going to connect up to this tram track right here, and we'll start to see some people move through this little network, hopefully. There we go, there's the first person. Who are you? Jeremy Gray is the first to use the new dirt path. Fantastic. So I think we can now afford, not financially, but kind of functionally, I suppose, is to put a tram stop on this one right here. So we've got one there and there. This one's probably a little bit overkill, but what we can do is we can have one that allows them to walk through the tram depot and then actually get to the park. So I think we'll do that, and it should get a fair bit of use. So we'll add 2 more stops onto the line right here, and we'll just kind of see how many people begin to congregate at them as the tram line picks them up. Yeah, so there's a few people getting off at them. Yeah, and straight away, as I thought, they're heading. Let's actually see where she's going. So she's just gotten off the tram. Yeah, so she's going to the dog park. And you're going to the busy corner shop, which is this one right here. So there's definitely a reason for them to get off here. You know, they're travelling to parks and commercial. Yeah, so it's getting some decent use. So let's go ahead and decorate it up. I kind of want to go for a nice little rock pattern along here. So I think we'll go for one of the smaller ones. And it will... we'll kind of run them like this. Don't want too many of them. They can be a little bit overbearing sometimes. I'll pop a couple in there. Start to plan out our taller trees. Again, anytime you're doing tree detailing, start with a few of your taller ones, a little more of your medium, and a lot more of your small. It makes it look a lot more organic unless you're going for some kind of like huge mountain forest in the national park somewhere. So I think we'll go pretty symmetrical. Maybe have 4 of these in this space right here. Hope you guys don't mind these kind of slower detailing episodes as well. I'm going to throw them in every now and again, as opposed to kind of doing big builds like the town centre like we did last episode. If you guys aren't a fan and you prefer to just kind of see that rapid expansion, then we can kind of focus a little more on that. But I think coming back to detail these smaller areas is always a nice little treat, at least for me it is anyway. So then we'll pop a few of these medium-sized trees in here as well. And then we'll kind of stick with the same colour palette. Let's go for a cluster of the smaller ones. Kind of in around here too. So we need to actually hook the walking path into the tram line here. That would be handy for the Sims. So let's bring it up to here. By the way, we had a comment last episode asking if Sims is if it's spelt with an S or a C. No, it's just what I call the Sims in Cities Skylines. So C-I-M-S, because cities and C. Sims are from, you know, the Sims series, so, you know, don't take that as like official, you know, gospel or whatever. Okay, let's get a little kind of nice shot of this. So I'm happy with the way that's looking. Got that park maintenance building in the background. That's got like that really nice, almost like barn feel to it. Got the gates around the tram yard here. It's annoying me that that's not straight, but I think it's fine. I think we can live with it. So again, we'll continue to... actually, let's go for some rock assets. Let's see. These will be too big. Yeah, they're way too big. How about rock formation number 2? I think that's alright. It's a little bit close to people's kind of yards here. But are these houses like built to the side? That seems a little weird. It feels like they should be facing the road. I don't know, it feels a bit strange, but okay. We'll roll with it. So we'll plant some larger trees in around this rock asset we've got going on. Looks like we can squeeze a couple of these larger pines in and around. And again, we'll move down a tier, we'll place a few more. And then we'll go ahead and grab just kind of lots of bushes. Maybe a few smaller trees as well. And some large overgrowth. So I want the large overgrowth, but nothing too dense. I think this one will be okay. And again, similar to what we did with that false parkland at the start of the map, we'll just draw in some kind of fractured nature reserve fence. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with that, I think. I think maybe just a touch more fence along this stretch over here. I think that'll be fine. So you can already see, you know, so many people now choosing to walk because they have the extra tram stop and because of the paths. It saves them all from driving, you know. So kind of utilising this space here to turn it into, I kind of call this false parkland. That's just my own saying. It's not kind of an official term or anything like that. You know, at least in England we have lots of these kind of spaces around residential areas. I'm assuming it's the same in other countries as well, unless you're kind of in like a big city or, you know, somewhere that doesn't really have these kind of spaces. You know, they're not kind of city parks where you have to pay to get in. They're just, you know, empty grassland that's got some trees and rocks in it. You might find like a public toilet there, that kind of thing. And I think it's important to replicate that in cities. So again, I'm sticking with the same colour palette and using that same technique of the smaller the tree, the more of them I use. Tends to be a good vibe. And again, we'll just blot down some of this overgrowth. He's a little too close to the tram layout. Make sure we take him away, and then maybe let's go ahead and grab a couple of smaller rocks along here. And then with the rocks, nice little tip for them, is just kind of surround their base with some bushes. Just kind of come in and, you know, around here. Yeah, okay. So I think already this is a much more interesting parkland again, I think. And then again we'll do the same thing we did down at that other side. We'll go ahead and join some little fences. Tend to keep them at straight angles, you know, like we discussed in the first episode. Where we have these kind of fences, because we have a lot of these near where I live in the Lake District, kind of like old wooden fences that were put there in like the 50s and the 60s. You know, they're not like curved like this. You know, they don't go to the effort to curve the wood, they build it in straight sections and then very kind of crudely stick it together. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. We can do some nice pattern stuff in here, I think, so let's come ahead and maybe plop a couple of bushes in the corner. And then again, we'll run some fencing to kind of get up alongside this. Yeah, it's a little too close there, isn't it? Okay, let's come down a little bit further. And then we can get in there. And then again, maybe just another, maybe a couple of smaller ones this time. And let's go for a different tree. Let's maybe go for some of these little, which ones are these? Alder. Like an alder tree in here. And then maybe just some bushes up against the road, which will be nice. Got a fair few people kind of looking to come in and around this tram stop, which is really nice. You can see them all kind of walking off in the distance there. So it's good to know it's getting used. It's almost giving purpose to this parkland as well, you know. I think it's looking a lot more detailed already. I think we need maybe a little more, a few more kind of trees in and around here. Let me just go for that. A little bit of overgrowth again. And again, this will be a nice point to bring some of that fencing out too. I'm thinking if we have it as the nature reserve path with decorations, then we'll have the lights on during the night. Because these ones, they don't have the lights. If we kind of upgrade the section here, you can see how they get the little like mini lampposts on them. So these will light up at night, but otherwise these paths will be dark. So I think I probably will upgrade them, but I'll do that off camera. But I hope you all agree, you know, that's a much nicer use of the parkland here. Took me about 10 or 15 minutes or so, but I think it's okay. So I think we'll finish this area off again with a little park life asset. We'll go for a public restroom on the corner, which would be cute. And then again, I'll grab my walking path and maybe just bring another little option around the side, and then continue to flesh out my tree pattern. Just using the smaller ones. I'm using kind of the same thing around the tram depot. There's no kind of taller ones around this area. They've all been taken down so they don't kind of fall over in a storm, I guess is the reason. No, it's a little public restroom on the corner like that. I think that'd be nice. You can just kind of slightly twist them off the road boundary. See if we kind of move it here. It's like, you know, it's not in a park area, but just on its angle right near the corner of the road, it will still register. And we'll get a nice little corner building. So this is great. I'm much happy with this area now. Really kind of gives this tram a lot more meaning. It's very lush, it's very green. And we're getting some people using all the paths as well, cutting through the tram yard to get to the park. So yeah, super happy with it. Let's do something similar again over here. So we mentioned we weren't particularly happy with this. So we'll go for our nature reserve path with decorations. And we'll come out from one corner. Come outside the cemetery. And then bring it in there. And then we can do some nice trees to kind of mark the start of the cemetery, I think. And then if we come out here. Yeah, okay. So let's curve around the back of the cemetery like this. Can we squeeze out here? I think, yeah, it will be a little bit too short there, but that's fine. And then we'll curve into this corner as well. And then down here. So I'm happy with the path network there. That's going to be kind of the main structure. Let's go ahead and repair some of those fences that we broke. So we'll have one that comes up into the back of the elder care centre. That's fine. And then we'll do one like this as well. Okay. And then I think, yeah, we'll just leave that one as it is. So we'll grab, maybe we go for a little more of a colourful tree here, something a little simpler. Just like the little maples. And because we're kind of near something a little more important, like we did with our cemetery here, I think I'm just going to run a really basic, simple repeated tree pattern. Obviously, if you're playing with the prop line tool, this is fantastically easy for you to do, but I don't think that's too bad. Gives a nice little marker to our little cemetery we've got going on. Got other people using this path. You know, the walkability of the city it's so important to expand along with the rest of your road network. You have to extend those path networks too. So many people cycling, which is just great. And then again, what we'll do is we'll run through our trees. So maybe place a couple of our taller ones in. Maybe that'll probably do. I don't want this to be too overbearing with trees in this particular area, just a couple here and there. Now we do have this pattern over here as well that needs to be continued. So we'll grab a couple of those. A couple of those. And just change up a little bit, let's go for one of those. And then we'll grab some of that overgrowth. And then we'll just plop it around. Be generous with the overgrowth. Can we get one in there? Yeah, okay, this is fine. There's nothing too crazy. Alright guys, so I know a few of you were interested in what tile I was going to expand into. So I bought the tile on this side right here, which is where the railway was, and the one in the river. Also finished expanding out some of the one-way system network here. So you can see we have, let me pop my overlays on. See where the one-way system flows. So you're already getting some people using this, which is nice. Just a little way into town, and I think we'll also have a connection into the suburb there as well. Fantastic. So I guess we'll finish off the episode by decorating another tram stop out here. So I'm going to use my one-way tram tracks to separate it off the road. So I think we'll go for, let's go for this tile right here. And then we'll come out by a distance of 10. And then let's bring this in. Is 495 going to be the smoothest looking kind of angle we can get? Yeah, it's slightly kind of sunken as well just because of the terrain we're working with here, but I think we can work with that. I think that'll make it look quite nice. That curve 495, let's make sure we get the same one in on here. There we go. And then twist it back around. And then we can do the same thing on this side as well. So we're leaving 2 tiles between, distance of 10, 495, and then 495, and then we know that we are perfectly symmetrical So we now no longer need this tram road in the middle, so we can upgrade this for something else, and I think we might just go for the 4-lane with decorative grass. I think that might be quite nice. Got like a little grass verge in the middle. Let's actually get our tram flowing. So the tram isn't going to end here, but we will do something to kind of help it look a little nicer. Let's rotate the tram line around so they don't cross over one another. Then let's bring him up there. He's going to flow in, stop outside the town hall, as the other one does. And then eventually this will carry on. Let me guys know what you think we should kind of have at the head over here. I'm thinking maybe kind of like, where is it? The shopping mall. This one right here. Do something with the Mall of Moderation. Kind of by the river. I'm not sure quite what we're going to do with this little kind of lookout. It's quite a nice point, and we have to bear in mind if we're going to put the downtown here, these guys are going to have like kind of a pretty important view over to that kind of almost skyline, if you imagine all the skyscrapers kind of sitting here. So yeah, I think the more moderation, but if you guys have a different idea for what we could put at the end of this little island, then pop it in the comments. So for right now, we'll have this guy kind of spinning around and doing his little business. Let's go ahead and get some of those residentials in. So we'll have, I think we'll keep this block quite clear. Then we'll go for a big bank over here for right now. I think that'll be okay. This might be a little bit close. In fact, it is too close. But we'll just leave it in there for right now, just so they have some kind of connection. We need to come through and make sure there's no traffic lights on this road. We want the smaller roads to give priority to the main road. So there we go. Give them a stop sign. We are going to need to empty out some of our landfill. Next episode we'll go ahead and expand our industry, because we've got a big demand right now, and our services are starting to struggle with the demand, so we'll look at that next episode. Okay, let's change the colour of the tram. Let's go for, how about a nice grey? How do the grey trams look? Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. So they'll stagger out on the line as they begin to come in. And then let's go for a path between. I think just maybe, do you want to do something a little bit fancier? Maybe just a park path? Yeah, I think we will, because it's got the like the little benches on it and stuff. So I think we'll run a little park path border between here. And then we'll bring it up kind of at the crossroads here, and then do another one there as well, and we can plop something in here too. Yep, of course you guys will need power. Let's bring in a temporary connection for our new residential friends. You should hook through, right? Yep, there we go. Okay, so let's kind of take a look at the view here. We're going to have a bunch of little houses that are looking out over this little tram loop. Let's have a look at some park life assets. Let's come into park life. So I think a restroom again. Boom. So there's a couple of little white restrooms. Makes it look quite nice, I think. I'm thinking I'm happy with that. We can't get a park info booth in, can we? Oh, we can. We can get a park info booth in. So you could almost treat this as like, yeah, we're getting some slightly janky terraforming there, but I don't mind that. It's not too bad. You know, it almost looks like you got these like little raised concrete barriers in. You could almost treat this as like a ticket office for the trams, you know, like they could come and pick up like an all day pass here, or like a weekly pass if they're here for a while. I think that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so we're starting to get some activity around this area. That's wonderful. Let's continue to grow out that residential. So bring it up here. Now I think with the houses that are facing the river, I want these to be a little kind of more impressive. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw out very specific 4x4 zonings, but we're going to leave the ones in between empty. So they're almost like quite expensive waterfront houses, and they'll look pretty nice as well once we kind of have them decorated up, and we'll leave the back behind them, we'll leave that empty. So this feels like a good place to jump into a detailing time lapse. I'm going to go ahead and tidy up some of these stuff around here, maybe add some paths in, a couple of park life decorations, and maybe some rocks and flowers if I fancy treating myself. And then probably tidy out some of these little areas around here as well. And we'll just kind of see what comes from it. So as always, we'll be right back. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, a like below is very much appreciated. As much if you didn't enjoy it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Sorry for quite a detail-intensive episode today, but I might throw one or two of these in every now and again. Let me guys know if you enjoyed it. Not too much expansion, just kind of retreading old ground and getting rid of some of those dead empty spaces like we talked about. I'm really happy the way this has come on, and definitely hang around for the rest of the outro charge and check out some of these spaces at night once they're all lit up. I'm sure they're going to look pretty sweet. But otherwise I'll leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.